Ladies and gentlemen, I have made the best possible wildcard team in FPL for game week 12. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get right into the video. Now here is the fixture difficulty rating based off the last 8 to 10 game weeks in FPL. We are looking at the next 6 game weeks, and here, as you can see, we get the AFCON transfers in game week 16, which is something to think about. But please do keep in mind that AFCON doesn't actually start until game week 17. So don't let this graph mislead you. I'm not trying to trick you. You get the transfers for game week 16, but you don't need to sell your African players until game week 17. As for the fixture difficulty rating itself, some of you may disagree with it, but I base it off the underlying data across the last 8 to 10 games, and I think it's quite accurate. Some of you may disagree, but you know, you're looking at actual output while I'm looking at the numbers behind the scenes. So if you disagree, that's fair enough, but in general, this is a good guide as to what fixtures are easy and what fixtures are quite difficult. But here's the thing with this fixture difficulty rating. We don't care about this one. I mean, we do if you're not on Wildcard. But if you're using Wildcard for game week 12, which I'm sure a lot of you are, you don't care about this fixture difficulty rating. It doesn't matter to you. You may think you care about it, but you don't. Because this is the fixture difficulty rating you care about, right? You do not care about game week 16 onwards. When you're planning your team for game week 12, it does not matter to you. Even if you're struggling with free transfers, right? From this wildcard in game week 12 up until you get them 5 free transfers in game week 16, you will have a total of 8 free transfers built up across the next 4 game weeks. You don't need to think about game week 16 right now. Fair enough, come game week 14 time, you will need to think like that, you know, a bit further ahead. But as for your wildcard this game week, please do not think about who's got a good fixture past game week 16, because it will not matter to you. So looking at the graph here, these are the teams you need to target players from. I mean, some of these teams don't have great assets. Like Bournemouth really only has Semenyo. Their defense isn't that great anymore, so Senesi isn't an awesome option. Brighton kind of have no one except Welbeck, but there are better forwards. Liverpool, you know, I like the idea of Gakpo, maybe Szoboszlai, but the rest of them players, I don't think they're worth it. But then you get to teams like Crystal Palace and Man United and Man City. These guys, their fixture runs aren't as good, but you know, they've got the FPL assets to carry you through the next few game weeks if you're on wildcard, especially Crystal Palace. I like Crystal Palace the most, right? They've got 4 really good fixtures. Sure, they play 3 away games, but they're playing away games to 3 of the worst teams in the league, and their home game, while it is a great fixture, Man United's defense isn't that strong this season. So going forward across the next 4 game weeks, Crystal Palace have an amazing run of games, and when they play Man City, it doesn't matter because you have 5 free transfers to get rid of your Crystal Palace players. So they're a team I think you should be targeting. And to be fair, in reality, Man City don't really have the assets to back you up. They have one asset to back you up, and everyone owns him, so they don't really count. Man United, they got on Mbumo and Bruno. Chelsea have some alright players, but a lot of rotation risks going forward. It's mainly the teams towards the bottom that you just want to be avoiding, because across the next 4 game weeks, they don't have anyone good. Anyway, enough of that. You got a good look at it. You can work out for yourselves. Let's get into what I believe is the best wildcard team you can make for game week 12. Looking at the goalkeeper, some of you may disagree, but you should never pick a goalkeeper based off fixtures. The reason why you want the Sunderland goalkeeper is because their defense is good, and when he gets a clean sheet, he will get big points. It's not like David Raya where you're going to cap out at 6 points, and when he blanks, he's going to get 2 points. You don't want that for nearly 6 million. With this goalkeeper, for a clean sheet, you're going to get 9 or 10 points. And their defensive data is good enough that they will get clean sheets in some of the easy games. I mean, especially with their next 2 fixtures being pretty good, there's no reason why this guy can't get you a few points across the next couple game weeks. And even if he doesn't keep clean sheets, he gets save points. Like, he's never a keeper that's going to get a 0 or a 1 pointer. He's the guy that's going to be getting 2 or 3 or 4 pointers, even when Sunderland don't keep a clean sheet. So long term, I think he's a set and forget keeper for your FPL teams. Gabriel is the most essential defender in the game. I mean, it's fairly obvious if you go without Gabriel, you're setting yourself up for failure. Arsenal have the best defense in the league, and it's not even close. Gabriel is really good for expected goals and even the expected assists, because Arsenal are so threatening from set pieces. And Timber is basically just a worse version of Gabriel. Like, he does have a chance for a goal or an assist, not as much as Gabriel. He has a chance for DEFCONs, but his DEFCON numbers are actually pretty low. But he's a reliable guy from the Arsenal defence. You could argue Saliba is as well, but these last couple of seasons he's been a bit injury prone, and his DEFCONs and goal threat is even worse than Timber's. So I do believe Timber, now I don't think he's a rotation risk, is going to be the second best Arsenal defender. And as you guys know, you need 2 Arsenal defenders to benefit from an Arsenal clean sheet. And because their defence is so good, you kind of want to benefit from their clean sheets. So yeah, double Arsenal defence is the way to go. I really wanted Senesi in this back three, but the Bournemouth expected goals conceded is looking quite bad the further the season goes on, so I don't really believe in their defence. Sure, home to West Ham, Senesi could be looking at an 8 to 10 pointer, but in reality, I don't believe in him long term, whereas Munoz, he's insane. Best attacking threat of any defender in the game. He's so good going forward. And Crystal Palace look fairly strong defensively. Across the last 10 game weeks, they are 5th for expected goals conceded, and their expected clean sheets are also pretty good. So many avenues for this guy to go down to get points. I think he is so worth it. And like I said earlier, when he has that tough fixture run, it's easy to sell him because the game is giving you 5 free transfers. Make sure you leave a comment down below what you think about the AFCON transfers. I think it's a bit silly. I think it's foolish, but if you guys like it, maybe you disagree. Let me know down below why you think it's a good or a bad idea to give out 5 free transfers before AFCON starts. Vandenberg on the bench may not be affordable for all of you when making this wildcard squad. It can be more on the expensive side, but if you can afford him, he's really good. He is there for the game week 13 fixture playing home to Burnley, and that's it. So if you don't really care about him, or you can't afford him, then you can switch him down to a really cheap defender like the rest of the bench. It's just going to be a bunch of cheap players, but it's not like he's just there for game week 13 and that's it. I know I mentioned to not care about game week 16 and onwards, but Brentford have one of the best fixture runs in the league when you get to game week 16, so he could be worth holding for the long run as well. Semenyo is on bad form. Some of you may not want to own him, but he has a really good fixture coming up. He's really high owned and his data could change very soon. Playing with Krupi Jr. and playing some tough fixtures has meant his expected goals are quite low. And no matter how good a player is, if he's not getting the chances, he's not going to be able to score them. So it makes sense that his data isn't great right now. It makes sense that he's not scoring. When Krupi Jr. is on the pitch, he takes expected goals away from Semenyo. When Evan Nilsson's on, Semenyo is in the big chances a lot more. And now Semenyo's got an easy fixture coming up. I do think he's going to be due a return, but that's no guarantee. So if you guys don't believe in Semenyo, which I understand, you don't need to bring him in this team, but I think a lot of you will regret going without Semenyo. If he blanks the next 2 or 3 game weeks in a row, and you get to that Chelsea game in game week 15 and he still blanks, maybe time to get rid of him then, but for now, please do not sell Semenyo. It would not be a good idea. Mbeumo is up next. He was one of the best players in the league at Brentford, and he is one of the best players in the league now. Premier League proven baller. He is so good at the game, and he has really good end product. His expected goal involvements aren't ridiculously high, but they're decent, better than most in the league. But his big chances and big chances created, his end product stats are super high. He's always involved in the final third and in the box. He's got the chance for a goal. He's got the chance for an assist. He can go down many avenues to get points because he's also on some corners and some free kicks. He's got a lot of goals, not a lot of assists this season, but he is unlucky to not have more assists. And that sort of reminds me of Bukayo Saka as well. Bryan Mbeumo and Saka are very high for expected assists this season, but have been very unlucky to not be in the assists more. Their creative potential is very underrated. For example, fun fact for you all, if you combine Mbeumo's and Saka's expected assists per 90 this season, you get 0.54 expected assists per 90. But if you look at their actual assists per 90, it is 0.09. That is incredibly unlucky. Their teammates have been letting them down. They should be on more points than they actually are. So even though they look like they're only good for goal threat going forward, they're both very creative and can be involved in the assists if their teammates actually decide to finish the chances they're creating for them. Now, Sarr is here. He's not super essential. He could be Minte, he could be Enzo, he could be someone else, but I think Sarr is the best, and I'm going to tell you guys why, despite the fact he has been blanking. Now, Crystal Palace across the last 8 game weeks are second in the league for expected goals. Very high, one of the best attacks going forward. But across the last 3 game weeks, Crystal Palace aren't second for expected goals in the league, they're 20th. Down at the bottom, which is weird to think, but I don't think it's a sign of things to come. They played away to Arsenal in one of those 3 games, and the other 2 games, the defences they played against were decent. They weren't bad, but they weren't amazing at the same time. But there were defences you can understand they didn't score many goals against. It makes sense. So going forward, while Crystal Palace attackers seem to be on bad form and they don't seem to be scoring a lot, I do believe with this easy run of games, playing against the Wolves, playing against Man United, playing against Burnley, they're going to be scoring an average of at least 2 or 3 goals per game, and you want to be there on them Crystal Palace attackers to take advantage of it. Now we go to the forwards, and the front line is fairly simple. Everyone's going to own Haaland, and I do believe Haaland should be your captain for game week 12 because while away to Newcastle was looking difficult in the beginning, Newcastle was second for expected goals conceded and second for expected clean sheets behind Arsenal. They have fallen off the wagon and they are on bad form, while Man City are on the complete opposite. They're on some really good form. So I do believe while a differential captain could be good, that Haaland is still the best option to go for as captaincy, and obviously the best forward to get on your wild card, the #1 priority. Mateta's also a very simple choice, and I did talk a lot about the Crystal Palace attack already. You don't need me to go over it again. Mateta is pretty much just a better version of Sarr. The underlying data is always a bit better than Sarr's. He doesn't get as many points for a goal, but he is on penalties, and I think both are really good to own because they've got good fixtures and they play for a strong attack. It's only a matter of time before they get back in the goals. When I say that, Mateta's still on pretty good form anyway. It's not like he's been lacking recently. So I think everyone's going to own Mateta. I don't think he's going to benefit your ranks too much. It's a player that's going to really hurt your rank if you don't own him. So make sure you guys have him on wildcard, because I promise you it's like Semenyo. You will regret it if you don't own this man in the near future. And Thiago here is the interesting one. I don't expect a lot Thiago playing away to Brighton. But I did mention earlier with Brentford, they play home to Burnley in game week 13, the game week after this one. And Burnley cannot defend strikers. Positioning wise, they are awful. They concede a lot of goals to strikers, a lot of big chances to strikers. And Thiago has been finishing a lot of big chances this season. I just don't see a world in which Thiago doesn't absolutely get a monster haul home to Burnley. And you want to be there for that haul. You want to own him. And while you're on wildcard, it's easy for you to own him. The issue is, he plays away to Arsenal in game week 14, so it may be a short-term option. Well, in game week 14, the plan with this team would be to go from Thiago to Voltemade in game week 14. So you get rid of Thiago for them tough fixtures, you don't want him for them games. Then you get Voltemade, who plays home to Tottenham in game week 14, then home to Burnley in game week 15. That way, you're always targeting a striker who's playing home to Burnley. It's almost a guaranteed monster haul for your striker if they're against that team. So with all these free transfers lying around, you may as well take advantage of it and play aggressive by targeting these strikers who play against Burnley. Anyway guys, that is it from me. Let me know what you think of the team down below. Let me know what you would change. Make sure you like and subscribe if you made it this far. I would greatly appreciate it, and I appreciate you watching all the way through the video. Once again, I will see you all in the next one.